Hello, Jane.
Hi, Wendy. How are you today?
Oh, wonderful. How about you?
Very good. I have been in a veil of silken fog at 6 a.m. and it has not lifted, not one iota. It's actually extraordinary. I don't remember a day like it ever. Permission to do nothing by the fire all day long. So I've had so much fun with my diary and my thoughts.
What a glorious gift.
I know. I
You
know.
know, it's interesting. We had some snow last night, not
Yeah.
that much, but just a beautiful blanket of goodness.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it made me really happy
Mhm.
and grateful for this season. And similarly to you, where I'm not hosting any events, I don't have anything in person happening. And the same with you, that you can take a day to
Yeah,
just be and fill
exactly.
yourself up and enjoy what's happening outside without going into any sort of problem solving mode or a plan B because the people that are in your charge today were had a different expectation. It's just, oh, it's so good for us. It's good. It's you know, you said it gave you permission to do nothing, which is
Mm,
beautiful. And it actually it sets us up to receive.
yes. And I started by receiving a third cup of tea from my pot this morning.
Is that nice? You know,
Mm,
that's so funny that you say that. The one of the values of the trips that I'm hosting this year, one of
mhm.
the key values is what I'm calling a 2 drink minimum, which
Yes.
is not like when you go to a club and you have to purchase 2 cocktails, but
Yeah.
I want to hold space for people to sit
Mm,
in a beautiful, comfortable chair, looking at something glorious or having their journal or reading their book for the
mhm,
amount of time that it takes for them to enjoy 2 beverages, 2 cups of tea, 2 cups of
mm.
coffee, two
I
glasses
love
of
that.
champagne, whatever
I
you
love that.
want. It just to feel not rushed and
Yeah,
to be able to celebrate a moment and then
absolutely.
you know elongate that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all do that, don't we? We ask ourselves so many times a day, or we tell ourselves so many times a day, I should say, oh, I'm too busy and I have too much to do. And how many times do we say that in a week or a month? A lot, I
Yes.
think, a lot. And the extraordinary thing is how many of those times are we actually too busy to do nothing? What are we doing? And I've started asking myself this when I'm sitting. Well, this morning is a really good example. I made a pot of tea. I got up to my third mug from my. I drink my tea out of a blue and white spode mug,
Beautiful.
and so it's bigger than the normal cup of tea from a teacup. But I got to the end of the second one and I thought, I think I will have a third one while I sit here by the fire and contemplate what I'll do next. But it was funny because I started a week ago putting my phone down and turning off my phone for an hour at a time.
Ooh,
I have not done in a long time
sure.
because I know that I am spending far too much time on social media, i.e., Instagram, and um, and also too much time even on WhatsApp and emails.
Mm,
Need to be on it as much as I am. And so I started with 10 minutes, turning my phone off for 10 minutes, and I've worked my way up to an hour. I'm doing it
that's
because I
so
want to
good.
feel that I can, and that I'm not obsessed,
Right.
which I am.
Are you finding you're not obsessed? You're actually, I mean, and I think that there's a quandary there, right? So if somebody was just
I
watching,
can't believe you've used the word quandary.
oh, I think it's a quandary because you don't want to be that person that's always looking at their phone. But at the same time, we are both female solopreneurs trying to grow a business that does not have $1 million advertising budget. So we have to use social media. And
Absolutely. I had a good talk to myself, and this is what I said. Jane, it doesn't have to be instantaneous. It was funny because I went back to a conversation that I had with a friend last year, and she said, we're in different time zones, and my response time to you cannot be instantaneous, will not be instantaneous, and you can't expect for it to be instantaneous, right? And that was a girlfriend. That was a really good friend who was just explaining why she'd taken 24 hours to get back to me.
right.
And I thought, right, if someone that's close to me can say that to me, then surely I can be the same with would-be clients.
Absolutely.
Because people will often say, oh my gosh, I can't believe how quickly you got back to me, because I'm so on it the whole time.
Right.
But you know why I started this, Wendy?
Tell me.
My son and his partner and my 2 little grandchildren are coming to live here. And my youngest daughter is coming back to live here and to go and study at the Sorbonne.
Oh.
All of a sudden I thought, I need to have more face-to-face time, and I need to put myself in a position where I have not got that phone attached to my limbs.
Right. That's beautiful. You know, it's so interesting. I have had so many of these similar experiences. You know, I think that people often ask me, how do you do all this? And we both are the type of people that we just keep going until it's time for bed, and then we sleep, and then we get up, and then we just keep going. So there's that. And there is the whole instantaneous. I'm the same way.
I know you are.
See an email, I'm going to read it, I'm going to respond to it, and just like you receive, people say, oh, thank you for your quick response. It's like, I have 2 speeds, people, right now or not at all. Like, it's just not going to happen.
And I am still doing it straight away, but I'm doing it straight away after the phone's been off for an hour.
Right. I think it's so good.
So so I'm doing 1 hour on, 1 hour off. That's how I'm doing it at the moment.
Oh, that's great. I have started, when I pick up Amelia from school, I don't plan anything after 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right. Well, that's great too. That's
especially since it gets dark now at
Yeah.
4:30 in the afternoon. So we just have this really short window, and I want to be present.
Of course. Of course. I mean, when my kids were Amelia's age, we didn't even have mobile phones.
Right.
I don't recall. No, I don't think we did. Not when my children were 7, 6, 5, and 3. Oh no, 7, 6, 5, and the 4th one wasn't even born. I didn't have a mobile phone. I'm sure of it. And I thought about doing a bigger block, but the thing is, I don't want to come back on and have 20 emails or 20 WhatsApps to to cover, or 150 Instagram DMs to cover.
Right.
So I still have to be on, but I have to give myself more real time during the day. And when I say real time, I mean human time. I mean human touch time, where there are people in my lives and they are not on the end of a phone. They're actually in my vicinity. So that's my thought around it. Train myself before my grandchildren get here.
Oh, I love that. It's a beautiful.
Otherwise, I'll be, Janie's always on the phone.
Right. And you don't want to hear that.
No.
This just leads into what we're going to be talking about today. So our love letter today is a paragraph from a book called An Invitation to the Great Game by Adam Robinson. It's really, the paragraph is beautiful. I think that it really will, I think you're going to love it. I think you're going to see so much of what you're already doing and just your essence in it as well. So actually, why don't I start by reading the paragraph, and then I'll give you some backstory into how I came to be in possession of this fabulous book. Okay. So from chapter 9 of An Invitation to the Great Game. And this is what the book is about this man who has had a chance encounter with a person that if we were watching a movie, we would think, oh, this person is an angel. Like this guy is not.
His first work of fiction, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's a parable.
Okay.
What the mentor has given to his student through this process is what he's able to articulate here.
Okay.
So what he says is, whether it's your personal life or your professional, the key to all success is simply communicating imagination, having a positive, exciting, and compelling vision of a future that others want to be a part of, and conveying that vision in a way that enrolls them, that allows them to see your vision of the future, and they think to themselves unconsciously, if not consciously, yes, I want to be a part of that with Paul, with Wendy, with Jane, whoever.
Can you read the first part of that again?
I can. Whether it's your personal life or your professional, the key to all success is simply communicating imagination, having a positive, exciting, and compelling vision of a future that others want to be a part of, and conveying that vision in a way that enrolls them, that allows them to see your vision of the future, and they think to themselves, yes, I want to be a part of that too.
It's got so many parallels to what we were talking about last time with
The Art of Possibility.
Art of Possibility, because they talk about in there, Ben and Roz, the authors, they talk about everything being invented. Adam is talking about everything in life being a game, that education, careers, starting a business, politics, it's a game that you choose to enter. And I guess the Art of Possibility very much melds with that, really, doesn't it? Yeah. Tell us about how you came to get your hands on this book, Wendy.
Well, we spoke at the beginning of this conversation about setting ourselves up to receive, and that doesn't always come easily or naturally when, especially if you consider yourself a giver. For me, so I was going on a weekend conference to New York, and my coach gave me my marching orders. She said, "You're going into this weekend. Your only goal is to receive." I thought, "Oh, what? I don't receive, I give. Giving is how I receive." And so I felt like, I had to really dig into this limiting belief that I told myself that receiving was the equivalent of not being prepared. Because when I attend something, if I'm meeting if someone new or I'm going to someone's home, I have a gift. I've baked cookies. I've, brought them some favorite something, whatever it is, a muddler for my friend Jane Webster. Yes, I don't come empty-handed. And so receiving requires a posture of empty hands. So
I love that. You have to write that down immediately.
Okay.
Receive requires a posture of empty hands.
Right?
Oh my giddy aunt. We are going to do a podcast just on that.
Okay, perfect.
Receiving requires a posture of empty hands. Wendy, that's a Wendyism.
Oh my giddy aunt is a Jane that is my favorite.
But you made up yours. Mine's just an old English.
Oh, you are full of wisdom and grace.
Oh dear.
Going into that weekend, I was already feeling off my game. But I was also, we've talked about this a few weeks ago on a podcast about what it required for me to do was to be aware and to be aligned and to be ready to take action, right? Available. I needed to be available, aware, aligned, and ready to take action when I saw something that, when you are open to receive, your eyes are opened, you see more opportunities. It's the art of possibility. It's all of these things. It's reframing how we're looking at our day. So before the conference was starting at 9 a.m. and by 7, I'm out of my uninspiring hotel in search of good coffee in New York City. Not hard to find. I went into the shop. There was one gentleman in line and I stood behind him and he started a conversation that I responded to. He was a lovely guy buying 2 cups of coffee. He ended up
to tell me this was Adam Robinson.
Adam Robinson, right? He bought my coffee.
Look at a picture of him.
Yes, right. Doesn't he just looks safe and unassuming and president of the chess club?
A person who is willing to connect. That's what he looks like to me.
Oh my gosh, was he, and just the synchronicities of this beautiful time. All I did was walk into this deli to get some coffee, and 90 minutes later, when I got up from my little bistro table that I had just had the most profound experience and conversation and absolute divine appointment, speaking with this man, it was unbelievable. And he said toward the end, "I've written a book. I'd love to give a copy to you. Where is your conference?" Which was, of course, right next door to the deli, which was, of course, right across the street from his building.
You were meant to.
It was such a divine appointment.
I'll admit that when you told me that this was going to be our springboard for today, I did look up at Adam Robinson. There was one thing that struck me about him, because he talks about when you type "how can I learn" into Google, how can I learn to love myself? He said it's the top search that anyone types into Google, self-love. And his conclusion to this is that this means that clearly loving oneself is an immense problem and no one has anyone to turn to or any idea how to do it. I thought, oh my gosh, now I know what this book is all about, because he then goes on to say, I read an interview with him and he said that the paradox of the most important things in life, happiness, love, and success, is that you can't look for it. You have to be open to it. And a lot of people are not, as we know. But you just have to trust. You have to be that, I guess, almost that sponge that these things, the universe brings this stuff to you. And what happened to you in the coffee shop that morning.
Right. And the premise of this book, which is not published yet, and oh my word, get yourself a copy as soon as you can. I've actually reached out to Adam and asked him for another copy so that I can bring it to you when I come to you in March.
I would love, because I have tried to get it.
Right. He hasn't published it yet, but the whole premise is that this mentor, this teacher, and you know what they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So this teacher has invited him into this game, and this game is about receiving, about being aware, about connection, like all the things that we've been talking about.
If you're looking for happiness, you're not doing what you need to do to be happy. If you're looking for love, you're not being lovable. If you're looking for success, you're not doing whatever it is you need to do to be successful. I wrote those things down after reading a bit about this guy. Of course, he's become my obsession now.
Oh, good. I think he's worthy of obsession. I
love his face. I think he's got a beautiful, open face, and his eyes say it all.
Right? And when you meet someone like that, I mean, if I said to my husband or my parents, like, oh, I'm in New York City and this guy that's in line in front of me bought me some coffee, so I spent the morning hanging out with him, like anyone would say, you're crazy and he could be a murderer, whatever. Like, my head never goes there. Like, I think everyone's just in it for the good of us all. And that's just a great place for me to live. I like living in that place.
I love the way, Wendy, that his expectation is that life is a game and you need to learn how to play it.
Right.
Something that he wrote about a job interview. Turn it all around. Remember, we were talking about my friend Ted and how Ted said to me, he's, big marketing person in Australia, and how Ted said to me that 99% of the population start at the beginning and work out how they're going to get to where they want to get to. And he said to me, always look at the end result. Look at it, feel it, smell it, touch it, know it intimately. And then, and only then, once you can feel it in your bones, only then work out how you're going to get there. Adam Robinson, he says, for instance, take a job interview. Instead of thinking, how can I impress this person during the interview or make the person want to hire me, he says, go within and just play with the real you. Because if you allow the real you to shine and be playful with it and be delightful and create fun and delight for the person that you're interacting with.
Right.
Every time.
And that's the point of this book and the point of just how this amazing, brilliant, successful man lives his life. Entire focus is on the other person. And he takes his cues from the other person. So
being true to himself.
that's right.
Always.
Yes.
Not ever presenting anything that is not 100%. And I hate the word authentic. I hate it.
Really?
But yes, I just think it's become so, it's become the it word that everybody uses. And so I'm trying to say, be true to yourself or be real. Authentic's just being bandied around a bit too much. It reminds me a little bit of bespoke became the it word. And a little bit like in business circles, they take the temperature of the room.
Right.
I don't like that either.
Right.
We don't need all, no, anyway,
Right. Well, you mentioned
Adam Robinson does not use these words.
He doesn't. And when we say that, when he believes life is a game and that's learning how to play it, it is not in a manipulative way at all. It's a game as in an adventure, as in an opportunity. It's to be present. When you're playing a game, you have to be there. You have to be in it.
There was one of his quotes was, if you want to find gold, it's where things don't make sense.
Right? Yes. That sounds
love
just
that?
like him. Yes.
Don't you love that? And I know you get that because we've had so many discussions about that sort of thing, Wendy. And he says that when things don't make sense, that's where you'll find gold. And that is an algorithm for finding the greatest opportunities.
It's beautiful.
Greatest opportunities, the greatest love, the greatest friendships, the greatest everything when it doesn't make sense.
And another beautiful piece of that is that it's already here. It's all of this he didn't drop from heaven. Morning I went into coffee. Like, all of these opportunities are all around us all the time. If we enter in, if we have this posture that is required in order to receive, this posture of empty hands, we unlock this whole world that is around us. That if we are aware, if we are available, we're prepared to take action.
And I love that he's a successful hedge fund manager. I love that he's the co-founder of the Princeton Review. But on the other side of all of that, of the academia and of the obvious success as a hedge fund, he's an author, he's an educator, he's a thinker, he's a magician of spreading life's magic.
He absolutely is. He should add that to his bio. I'm going to tell him you said so.
I love people that have that yin and yang, that absolute opposites in their own personalities, because he was already successful as an academic and as a hedge fund trader and manager. He no more needed this other, side of him than fly to the moon.
Right.
But it's what gave him joy.
That's right. Oh.
And, and maybe he craved the connection. Boy, I'd love to have a conversation with him.
I'll ask him.
Wouldn't that be fun? I mean, I know we don't do guest appearances, but we could every now and then.
Well, let me ask the boss of this podcast.
We
Jane
will.
and Wendy, what do you think?
Oh, I thought you were talking about KB.
Oh. She can be the boss. She's a good boss. She's benevolent.
She should be the boss of us.
She should.
Anyway.
Well, that would be very fun. I would love to introduce.
I cannot wait to to read his book. I cannot wait to read his book.
I will send you my copy, but I've underlined things on every single page.
You will not. I
won't.
have reached out as well to see if I can get a copy. I wasn't able to buy it on Amazon. So
No, it's not published.
no. So I've reached out to him, but we'll see what happens. Otherwise, you bring your copy with you when you come over on the 1st of March.
Ah, I will. I'm so excited.
And I will make time to read it.
Perfect.
Do you know the first snowdrops came up today?
I saw that on your Instagram. I can't believe that.
Have yours come up yet? Do you get them where you are?
We get them, but we have snow. They won't come up until April.
Yeah. Well, we always get them at the end of January, early Feb. And I am planning, if this veil of silken fog leaves the environment tomorrow morning, I am planning to put on my gumboots and my very, very long, it's like wearing a doona. Do you know what I mean by a duvet?
I don't.
It's a human duvet. It's
perfect.
and I'm going to lie on the grass and try and take some frosty snowdrop shots.
Oh, beautiful. I can't wait to see.
It's my favorite time of the year now because things change daily. All of a sudden, like when you get here in March, every day there will be new spring wildflowers all the way along on the Bosquet Walk.
That will be so beautiful.
Every day, because we'll have Amelia with us and she'll make little bouquets, and that will be absolutely glorious, and it will help us
Dream best.
Keep in trim so that our clothes don't explode with all the eating and drinking that we'll be doing.
That is true. That is true. Oh, I have loved this conversation.
I have two. Your takeaways.
Oh gosh, it was so beautiful, and I was lost in it and didn't pay attention to my takeaways. So let me think about that. Will you share yours first?
Sure. I get a sense that connection is the most important thing with Adam Robinson, which I love. So connection is my big takeaway. And also there was a quote by him that I read during the week, and it was this: if you want to do anything in this world, it's all about creating a vision for others to join. And I just, that is beautiful. And his other big quote that I read this week was, the great game of life is a win-win game. But the most important one for me was, and I love this, I've thought about it morning, noon, and night since I read it. If you want to find gold, it's where things don't make sense. It's an algorithm for finding the greatest opportunities.
I love it.
I love that. I love that.
Oh, yes.
That you want to find gold, it's where things don't make sense. And that just spoke to me. It's like someone slapped me across the face. It made so much sense to me.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
Very well that it would, Wendy.
Yes. And I just love I love when somebody else articulates what I'm trying to do with my entire life. And when I read, live in a way that is, just live your life as an invitation. And that's what I want to do. That's what I'm doing. And I think that there's so much goodness. It's too much goodness for one person. I must share it. And I just desire to live in a space where I am not missing it while I'm taking up space. I want to see what's happening around me, and I want to celebrate and appreciate that and invite others into that same practice so that they can have these beautiful experiences. that are also waiting for them in abundance.
Perfect.
So good.
Wendy, that was such a lovely conversation. I loved it.
I did too. Thank you so much, Jane. I look forward to our next one.
Me too.
We have loved this conversation and sharing this love letter with you, and we would like to invite you to send us your love letters. Visit the link in the show notes to send us your letters and to join our email list. See you next week.
The thoughts of this chateau gently whisper, trust her word.